This time I want to talk about levels, but with the histogram panel open. If you don't have the histogram panel open, all you have to do is go under Window, Histogram, and you'll get that panel. And what it does is give you kind of a live view of what's going on with your histogram. When we look at this picture, basically you can see that we have a lot of midtones. Like the peak is actually a little bit toward the darker shadow side of midtones. And the histogram is always subjective. And this is the part where people get confused. Like they think, well, what's a good histogram? And for the most part, you do want to have some strong black, some strong white, and a good amount of midtone. But actually, that's not 100% of the time, because let's say you have a picture that actually does have a lot of grays in it, then you wouldn't want an extreme on either side. So you have to think about what is the content of your picture and then do an analysis on your histogram. So I'm going to go back to levels and make an adjustment layer, and you can see that both the histogram and the levels panel reflect the same shape. And really, when I look at this picture, one of the things, some of the shadows could go a little darker, but mostly I look at the picket fence and I know that that is white. So my highlights are a little bit too gray, but mostly my midtones are too dark. So what I'm going to do is go right over here to the levels adjustment and bring in the highlights. And now I don't want to go too far with that, because this little spike right over here, which is being hit by the sun, will get too bright. So I don't want to go too far. I actually want to use the midtones and bring them into this larger area. Now right now this is looking like it's getting too washed out. But as soon as I bring the black shadow slider in, you'll see that all the details that were darker on the fence start to bring in some tone and contrast. And so as you're looking at the live view here of the histogram, you'll see that basically it spread that shape out compared to over here, where this is how it used to look. And this little territory where you see all these lines, this is what's called a combed histogram, which means that it's been adjusted. I mean, clearly when you see that, you know someone has adjusted the levels. And these are little gaps of hues within the image, and so, or tonality, luminosity. And a lot of people say that's a bad thing. I think overall, even with the gaps, you're giving a better overall look to your image in terms of your luminosity. So this is the before histogram, and then I'll turn it on, and you could see how it took that pile of pixels that are located in the middle of this graph, representing the darks, lights, and midtones, and spreads that out so that you get a more an image that has more contrast in it, basically. Anyway, so it's a good idea to actually have your histogram out when you're working with your adjustments.